Hello in your houses, a very good evening. We are in your house today because we have a good news. The collaboration of Business Forum 2.0. We did promise and today we are here. This is a business forum that discusses your issues and the issues that concerns you. This is the time that you take your pen and paper. If it's not directly to you, indirectly, you might have to record a message and pass it on. This 2.0 version is supposed to be one of the best. Now, when you tune your television, there are quite a competitive kind of programs going on right now. If you have a friend who is not focused on Hope TV, where lives are being changed and changing lives to make it better, and empowering people who have ideas to set up business and to run the business to the successful end. And those who businesses at a rock, we're going to turn it and smooth it and make it all smooth in the track again. Are you with us today? Those people are home. You are more blessed with wisdoms and intelligence. But we brought a few experts over here and we're starting from today on the 2.0 version of Hope Business Forum. Changing lives. Just remember that. So we are coming to your house today with a very important topic. Today we are starting with a topic that says sales and marketing. What is your marketing plan? What is your sales strategy? Can you sell water to the world? Is it possible for you to do that? What is the first thing that you say to somebody who is not interested in your product or your service? Do you have what it takes for you to massage and get a person to say, yes, I'm parting away this money because I need it, and thank you for blessing me. Today, we are coming to you. We're giving you opportunity for you to also send your feedback, your messages. Don't wait until the lecture is over before you start sending in your text message. We will open the phone lines after continuously 30 minutes for the expert to deliver on the topic. And after that, you can call. But before that, you have what it takes. Just go there, put your message down, send it to us directly. Send it on this number, 055-968-0066. This is a text line. You should not call on that particular number. And also, let me quickly advise this. When you are sending to London, we used to really get him along to worship with us. So he visited the church. Here in Ghana, the last time before COVID, I invited him together at Hanson Road Church Retreat. And he gave just about half an hour presentation. That was awesome. I'm talking about Dr. Kobe Mensah for short. Dr. Kobe Mensah, as I know, probably one of the experts in the area of political marketing. But once a marketing man, sales and marketing comes together and he'll be able to wow you tonight. So if you're a business owner, if you're a startup, if you have a dream and vision for you to set up a business, and the time is not even yet, or you are struggling to do your business at this moment, what are the alternatives that you have? He's here to break it to us. Dr. Kobe Mensah, a senior lecturer from University of Ghana Business School. Doc, you are welcome.
Thank you.
It's good to always have you on set.
Very well, sir.
And I like your love for Adventist Church.
Thank you.
And I can bet you there's a pastor who prayed for you when you came for that program the last time.
Yes, exactly.
And you did mention that you love this church so much that, in fact, you don't attend any church. And if you ever want to attend church, you want to come to Adventist Church.
Yeah, right.
You know, that itself is a command to us. Sure. And we take it with faith. That we're going to pray about it and do everything possible until you register your membership to become one of us.
For sure.
So I'll call you one of us. Welcome in.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So today's topic is business. We're looking at sales and marketing. What do people look forward to today?
Okay. For us in marketing, we always say that marketing and sales. The reason being that marketing is the parent and sales is a subset of marketing.
That's right.
Now, so maybe because of the distance, I can actually remove
That's right. We are far enough.
Exactly.
Yes.
So we usually say that for you to be very effective in sales, you've got to have your marketing right. And usually people misconstrue marketing to be the communication bit. That is advertisement, and promotions and all that. But marketing is far more than that. Marketing is about the backroom job that you do. That is, planning the entire process of what we call the customer journey, from the beginning of the customer identifying that they have a need, to the time that they buy, and then to the time that they come back to you with a feedback.
Good. So, let me stop you right there, Doc. You are the expert. So at the moment, I'm going to have what we call uninteractive sessions with you.
That's good.
So you have your board there, you have your markers, and then you have your, everything is all waiting for you. When you feel like you want to write, you can write. So keep on talking. Straight away, you can look at the camera and then do your presentation also.
Okay,
so
thank you. All right. So viewers, thank you so much for spending time with us. And I think in most cases, business owners, try to identify what can they do to actually make sure that they are in business and they are successful at it. Now, one of the many things that we usually take for granted is marketing. Why? Because most people actually think that, well, once you have the product and you go out there, people would buy. It is not as easy as that. You have to actually have a strategic, view to that process. And once you have a very comprehensive plan, and as you know, you cannot do anything without a very comprehensive plan. So once you have a very comprehensive plan, you can actually go out there confidently and then use that, let that plan actually guide you in your process. And eventually you would become a very successful business person. So today, I think I will take you through a very simple framework, which I'm sure majority of you or most of you who are actually marketing people would actually understand, better, maybe better than I do, but I'm sure it will be a refresher for you. And for those of you who are not actually familiar with marketing, I'm sure you will learn a thing or two out of this. So I'll take you to the board and then, try to explain that very simple kind of framework that you can use to guide, your, selling of or your marketing of your product. So okay, thank you. I hope I can actually, do justice to this. Okay.
We are ready.
Yeah, okay. So please, if you can go along with me, maybe if you have a pen and paper, you can take down a few notes. And as marketers, we believe that you cannot actually be in the market successfully without having a plan. So we have what we call the marketing plan that we always begin with. So we advise that once you're in business and once you're actually, selling a product or a service or an idea, if you're a consultant, you have to have a marketing plan. Now, for those non-marketers, sometimes it's difficult for them to think about, how a marketing plan should look like. But it's not a daunting task at all. It's a very simple one. And I'm going to show you a very simple framework that you could use, to guide you in setting up your marketing plan. We call it SOSTAC. And I'm sure some of you who have actually been in marketing class before, this will ring a bell. SOSTAC, so SOSTAC is a very simple framework, and I would actually elaborate on that. So SOSTAC, that is SOSTAC, and that's the very simple marketing plan framework. Now, the first S of the SOSTAC is called situation analysis. Now, I'll come back to explain these terminologies, these ideas, these concepts. So the first one is situation analysis. That is the first S. Now, the second O is what we call objectives. Objectives. So you have your objectives here for your marketing plan. The next S is what we call strategy. Strategy. So strategy is your next S. And then the T is called tactics. Tactics. So TACTICE. Yeah, tactics. Tactics is your next, your T. And then your A is action. Action. And your C is control. So sometimes we say control and monitoring, or monitoring and control. So you have your framework. So as I speak, I'm sure you have put down this framework. As I said, it's a very simple framework that can actually guide you in your marketing. And as I said earlier, it says the acronym is called SOSTAC. That is SOSTAC. And then the full meaning of the SOSTAC, the first S is situation analysis. The O is objectives. The S is strategy. The T is tactics. The A is action. And the C is control, or you can say monitoring and control. All right. So once we have our SOSTAC as a very simple framework to guide your development of a marketing plan, now let's go into a little bit detail and look into what are the components of each of these framework items that we have here. Now, to be effective in marketing, you have to, or even in sales, you have to understand the situation that you find yourself at a particular moment in time. For example, we are currently in COVID period. That means we had actually come from, as we have been saying, normal times to a very, uncertain period. Now, what does COVID period means? It means that the time of uncertainty, it's a time of panic, it's a time of so many other, negatives or things that we never, experienced before, which means that the market has changed from what it used to be normal market to a very, torrid or very, unsecure, period. And that exactly is what we capture in situation analysis, which means that at every point in time, you've got to understand and try to forecast what the situation could be and its implication for your product and services and for your market. I'll give a typical example. Now, majority of people who are actually selling luxury goods, shoes, you can say, maybe bags, etc., are not essential products. So currently, as we speak, most of those goods, or most of the people actually in that kind of business may not experience the kind of sales that they were experiencing in some few months back. Why? Because the consumers' thinking and their needs have actually shifted to what we call the essentials of life. And these are, as those of you who are actually familiar with what we call the Maslow's hierarchy, are the needs that are at the bottom of the hierarchy. Now, the Maslow's hierarchy actually talks about human needs, and it says the human need is in a hierarchical form, as in step-by-step form. If you're hungry and if you need accommodation, you certainly will not leave that to go and buy luxury product. So Maslow says that would actually satisfy the basic needs, which he calls food, shelter, and all those, things that human beings need at the basic level. Now, once that need is satisfied, before you go on to what we call the safety needs, and then you go on to the next, and then you go on to the next. Which means in this particular COVID period, all that a lot of customers are thinking about is the essentials of life, which is the basic needs. So if you are in a luxury product, then it means the market is going to be very difficult for you. And that is what we do at situation analysis. We analyze the situation that we find ourselves in business, and then we try to also forecast what the situation could be in the next 6 months, in the next year, in the following year. Maybe if normally we're doing a plan, we do it, let's say, for 2 years, for 3 years, or for 5 years. But these days, long-term plans have actually been cut. Most businesses cut their long-term plan to even 3 years. Those days it used to be 5 years. But because of the dynamic nature of the market is changing very fast. If you set 5-year plan, then it's too much. So you probably want to even set up your long-term plan to, let's say, 3 years. So if you look at the components of what we call the situation analysis, usually we have 2 frameworks, and usually marketers love to speak in frameworks because it makes it easier for us to understand what it is that we're doing and how we should do it. So with the situation analysis, we usually capture that in two key frameworks. We say macro, the macro situation, and then the micro, level. That the macro situation is looking at the, let's say, the market itself. That is if you are actually trading in, let's say, Kumasi or Accra or Takoradi, or your product is actually nationwide, then your macro level is the nationwide that you're looking at. So we're looking at what we call political legal situation. In most cases, you would prefer to maybe use legal because you're looking at what are some of the legal situations in terms of laws being passed, in terms of changes in certain legislations that actually impact on your product or services. You're actually following that in order that you would actually be, compliant, to the legal structures. Of course, when we say political, we're also looking at the stability of the system, and that even includes local disturbances or local situations are also part of the political system. So if, for example, you are a hotelier and there are some disturbances in your locality, you know that certainly you're going to have an issue with maybe tourists coming there because they will hear the stories in the news, etc. So they may not actually come to that place because of the disturbances. So you are following the situation within that area that you actually have your business, and making sure that you're on top of that situation, and then you're actually using that to make decisions whether you have to go out and sell or you shouldn't, whether you have to close down the hotel or you shouldn't, etc. So you're monitoring the political legal situation. And as I said, the legal, you're looking at the laws that governs your area of work or area of business. You're looking at the changes that are happening, the proposals that are happening, etc. I hope I am clear on that one. Now, under the macro, we also have socio-cultural. Now, the socio-cultural situation is actually looking at perhaps changes in the social setup or the social milieu. Now, currently, as we speak, we know that in those days, children only rely on their parents to make suggestions as to what they must buy and things like that. These days, it's actually the reverse. Children are actually dictating to parents what they want, etc. So again, you want to look at the changes in the society that could actually impact on your, your product and services that you're selling. And then, of course, as I said, currently we're in COVID times. So again, what are some of the changes that are happening? Currently, some of the changes are that people are actually postponing certain, purchases, and as I said, luxury product, etc., and then promoting certain, purchases, i.e., pushing forward certain purchases, i.e., essentials of life. People are stocking, or what they will say, or hoarding, product, because they don't know, especially when we had the lockdown, people were stocking up, people were hoarding, taking in food, etc. So they were spending, for let's say 3 weeks, 5 weeks, because they didn't know what is going to happen. So all these are part of the social or socio-cultural changes that you have to monitor, and you have to actually factor that in your planning. So all these are sort of like inventory that you're taking in order that it would actually guide you in your decision making, effectively. Now, the next one is political, legal, social, cultural. You have economic. Let's say economic first. Economic. Now, again, economic is actually looking at issues about, let's say, currency fluctuations, interest rate, the bank decisions that are actually coming from the banking sector that actually impact on your, products or on your business. For example, right now as we speak, because of the, COVID, the government has issued directives for banks to actually give a moratorium to, businesses, which means there's a little bit of relief. Now, you've got to consider that in your decision making. Some banks have actually, decided that, and I'm sure many of them have decided that they can actually expand, or they would extend the period that business people actually pay off their loans. All these have impact on your business. Again, currency fluctuations. The CD dollar relationship could actually impact on your business. Interest rate would impact on your business. All these are some of the economic factors that you need to actually consider in terms of forecasting them, in terms of predicting them, so that you would be able to make the right decision. So, for example, if you have to, let's say that if you have to actually import some goods now, certainly there are economic issues such as people's ability to actually buy some of those goods, as I actually indicated in the socio-cultural issues. Now, that has to be considered before you consider, or that has to be considered before you actually think about going to make that purchase or going to bring that goods in. Then it means that how long are you going to be able to sell off, so that you don't actually incur a lot of cost in terms of logistics or in terms of storage. You have to consider all that. The other factor, macro factor, is called technology. Now, you want to look at what are some of the technological advancements that could impact on your business. So you are currently using a particular technology in your business, and as our banking folks actually found out, they had been seriously impacted upon by the emergence of MOMO, or mobile money. They never thought that mobile money could actually gain currency to this level. So the story is that majority of the banks were a little bit reluctant earlier on in adopting that particular technology. Little did they know that the consumers would actually fall in love with it. And now we're having the telcos who are actually leading in terms of mobile payment systems. So if you don't pay attention to what technology is actually coming into the system and can impact on your business, you will fall behind. And before you realize, you're out of business. Just as some of the banks are now struggling to catch up. Some of them have tried to set up their own MOMO, sections. Some of them have actually partnered with some of the telcos to come out with their own MOMO, platforms. And currently, almost all of the banks are actually going on to what we call mobile payment systems, or mobile systems, mobile apps, so that people would actually transact business. And if they didn't actually do that in COVID times, it would have been chaos, because we were not supposed to come out, yet people had financial needs. How would they have actually assessed their financial needs? Luckily, the banks quickly had this mobile, apps, in time for people to actually have access to their banking needs. So you've got to monitor the system and see what technology is coming into the system to have an impact on your business, and take a decision on that. You have to evaluate and see whether that technology, by acquiring it, would help you overhaul your business and would add value to your business. If you don't follow the development of technology and its implications in your business, you could be out of business in no time. And most companies have found out that they couldn't survive. If you look at Amazon and its impact on the publishing industry, it's one typical example. Now, that is the macro level analysis. I think because of time, I have to speed up a little bit. Now, the micro level analysis, we use a framework called 7S, but I will actually stick to 3 because of time. You have to do the analysis of your skills. So you're looking at the situation, and remember we are talking about situation analysis, which means you're taking some inventory of the capacities that you have, the threats that you face, the strength that you have. That's why you are doing this. in order that you can actually consider those in your decision making. So skill set, what are some of the skills that you have available in your business? And what are some of the skills that you do not have available in your business? And therefore you need to actually get them in order to make your business grow. Again, you're looking at structures, So structures, for example, do you have a sales team? Do you have a marketing team? Do you have accounting, a finance and accounting team that actually does your bookkeeping for you, that actually, sort of arrange your loan portfolios, etc., or manages your loan portfolios, etc. You need to have structures in your business. And then, of course, you need to have systems. What are the systems that are available? For example, do you have marketing intelligence systems, i.e. systems that daily monitor who is the competitor, what are they selling, who is the next competitor coming to the system? Do you have that capability in order that you'll be able to have a listening ear? These days, we have what we call social media mining. Now, the social media mining means that you are continuously, checking, or we call social listening what people are actually saying are their needs. What product are people going for? And these days, a lot of people actually comment on Facebook, Twitter, of what they are looking for. Are you having the systems that is continuously monitoring these? What are your PR systems? Just in case somebody actually talks, bad about your business, what are the PR systems that you have to be able to alert you and be able to respond, appropriately and, accordingly? You need to have that. So that's a bit about situation analysis, and I hope by now you have actually understood what a situation analysis means. As I said, you do the situation analysis so that you'll be able to look at where do you fall short and where are your strengths, or where are the opportunities as a result of the situation happening in the market, and where are the threats. That's why you do the situation analysis. The next in your marketing plan is your objective set. Objectives is crucial. Now, most cases, especially small businesses, they would have the objective all right, but majority of time the objectives are not actually practical, because they only set the objectives in their heads and they think, oh, I want to make maybe $1 million within 6 months or $1 million within a year. It may not be realistic. So you've got to have a very realistic objective set. And how do you actually set objectives? In marketing, when you are setting your objectives, it could actually be objectives on your sales. It could be objective on your communication, right? And it could be objectives on your brand or your branding. Now, for sales objectives, you're looking at realistically considering yourself. If it's a new product, certainly the product is not known in the market. And so you need to create some level of awareness about your product before people start buying it. So you probably want to consider your communication objectives and say, okay, because it's a new product, you want to actually create maybe awareness of about, let's say, for your target market, you want to ensure that at least 20% of the target market know your product. And we're saying that, let's say, a target market of, let's say, 100, let's say within a particular vicinity, you have maybe 100 people. Now, that 100 people, you are setting objectives of making sure that maybe 20% of the 100 people get to know the product. And that 20%, you're actually using certain mechanisms to actually approach them. And so that objective must be, realistic. You can't actually say you're having 100% awareness in 6 months. So you've got to actually set the communication objectives. Now, once you set the communication objectives, you also setting your sales objectives and say, okay, I need to actually sell out of the 100. You want to be able to sell to, let's say, again, another 20%. Now, these are based on your capacities. That is, your budget for communication, your sales force, how many people do you have to send the product out, etc. So you set the sales objectives, and then you set your branding objectives as well. Now, branding is how do you identify yourself from your competitors and make sure that customers can actually, identify you and be able to set the difference between you and the competitors. So you want to actually, create a branding objectives of what? One, identify using certain differentials to create that identification and that, recognition by, your customers or your target customers. So I'll quickly move to strategy because of time. Now, strategy in marketing is about, how do you achieve these? That is the objectives that we have actually set. Now, one of the simplest way of setting strategy is about using what we call the Ansoff matrix, for example. Now, you have what we call existing product or new product, and an existing market and in a new market. Now, it's a it's a quadrant of four boxes. Now, each of them, if it's a new product, then of course there are certain strategies that you need to apply in order that you could actually get the product into the market. If it's an existing product, again, there's another strategy that you need to apply. Or you could use what we call the diamond as well. Porter's diamond, we have what we call cost focus, you have niche, and then you have differentiation. So what it means is that you want to either differentiate yourself from existing, what we call competitors by doing certain distinctive from what they have, or you want to be the cheaper version of the competitors in the market, or you want to actually concentrate on certain few people because of the characteristics of the people. You think that you can actually focus on them and do a very good job with them. So you have to actually choose which way you want to actually go and push the product out in terms of strategy. Now, on tactics, we have what we call the marketing mix, which is normally people say the 4 Ps. Now, the 4 Ps is almost like the framework for every marketing activity that you want to actually do. So you have one, the product itself. How do you want it to look like in terms of the design, the packaging, the labeling, on the product? You have to actually think about all these, the way it should be. What are the color combinations that you want to have, on that? Now, the other one is what we call the promotion, and you can actually call it as a communication. So you're looking at what are the promotional, activities you want to do, like, you want to use leaflets, or you want to do brochures, or you want to do billboards, or you want to do advertisement. All these depend on your capacity in terms of your budget, and then in terms of, your entire setup. So you decide on which of the promotional materials you want to use. Usually we use the name above the line and below the line. That is, if you do not have too much money, if you're a small business, you want to use below the line because it would actually, you don't have to spend much, but you can make a lot more impact and gradually build your capacity. So you're having leaflets, sharing leaflets, you're actually asking people to do word of mouth for you. You're using even social media, very, very effective, putting the word out there for people to actually send. You're using WhatsApp, so you design a very nice, kind of a leaflet or a digital leaflet, and people are sending them across. Then you have what we call place, that is distribution. You have to think about how are you going to push your product? How are you going to get the product accessible to the consumer? Maybe you are using agents, or maybe you are going to use, a setup. You're having a kiosk or something, or you're going to use, some wholesalers. If you're a big business, you're using wholesalers and then retailers. Know that all these involve cost. The agency cost, would have to be calculated, and definitely it would impact on your pricing. So whatever, methods that you're using, know that it would have an impact on your price, which is the other P. Price is the only thing that actually gives us revenue, and all of these are actually cost centers. Price is the one that actually brings in money. And so you have to be very careful in how you are calculating the price. Now, we have what we call the cost-based pricing, i.e., you're looking at how much is it costing you to do all these things, plus your markup. That is your, what you call profitability. So you're looking at how much it's costing you, and then you add, let's say 15% or 20%, depending on how rich you want to be quick, or depending on how realistic you think customers would actually buy the product. You add it up and then you generate your price. But there's also what we call, a premium pricing, or a differential pricing. That depends on how the quality of your product, how distinctive your product is. You would actually set the price, although you take into consideration your cost base, definitely. But also you're looking at, is the customer ready or prepared to pay a little bit extra than the market rate, in order that you can actually realize your objective because of the detail or the distinctiveness of your product. You could actually do that. There is also what we call parity pricing. Parity pricing means that you're actually comparing your price to competitors. But that is dangerous because you don't know the competitors' ability. Sometimes they have other businesses that they're using to support the current business. So if you parity price, before you realize it's setting out price wars, or you're actually collapsing your business. So we do not usually advise on parity pricing. But when the market is competitive, you can actually parity price in the beginning in order that you could actually get some customers, and then once you're done, you can actually move on, or once you have loyal customers, you can move on. So parity price is about looking at the key competitor that you have and how little bit less can you set your price in order that it can actually target the customers that they have. And we use that to actually target our competitors' customers, to actually poach them or to woo them to our side. But as I said, we don't normally recommend parity pricing. Now, action is what you do. You do let's say 7-day plan or 7-day action table, and then saying, okay, Monday, what activity would you undertake? So let's take communication, for example. For action, you do, I think I can clean this side a little bit, and then I know I'm behind time, but I'll try. So you do something like that. You have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then you have your activities. Let's take communication, for example. So Monday, you are distributing leaflet. Distribution of leaflet on Monday. Tuesday, maybe you are doing social media marketing, on Tuesday, and another activity. So you have all your activities here, all your days here. So you shade here as Monday. So you know that Monday, you are doing leafleting. You are sharing leafleting, around the area. Tuesdays, you are doing social media. Or you can actually do, again, on the Monday, you do leafleting and then you do social media at the same time. So action is about, identifying the period. You can do it either weekly or monthly. And then the activities. So you set the activities and you set the time period. And then it guides you when are you doing what activities, so that you don't actually miss the things that you must do. So action is very, very important. And then what we call the control, monitoring and control. It is crucial that we monitor and control everything that we're doing. For example, we said that we want to achieve, let's say, 20% awareness of our product. Now, you've got to go back and research by maybe just giving us some small survey for people to, or going out and ask people, oh, do you know this product, Business Forum? Oh, yes, I've heard it. What is it about? I think it's about a forum about how to create wealth, how to set up business. Then you know that your awareness activity is working. Now, if you don't do that, you will not be able to tell whether people are getting to know your product or they're not getting to know your product. And if you see the gap, or if you realize the gaps in it, then you have to actually change strategy. That this particular way that you created awareness is not working, so you have to change. You just don't push money in it, and later on you realize that it is not working. So you can set a control period of, let's say, every quarter, you want to check people's level of awareness about your product, etc., so that you'll be able to, make changes. I hope this small tutorials can actually help you, set your marketing going. And if you are effective in doing this, your sales will definitely go up. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Elder. Have a seat.
Okay.
Doc, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for taking us to the classroom, and then I'll be back from the classroom.
Sure.
I have a text here waiting for you straight away.
Yeah.
This is a young lady called Adwa. She sells food products, food stuffs. And she's saying that, look, times are tight for her at the moment. But she actually sometimes price a whole plantain at the cost of maybe sometimes it says between 12 to 15 cedis. But sometimes people are not actually giving her the price. It will come like 9 cedis or 10 cedis. And she actually sometimes, some cases, you wait until the product even go bad, because if he said it lower than the original price, she's going to make a loss. What advice will you give to her? Okay,
so we always say that you want to, that's why we say the situation analysis is crucial. Now, what are people's attitude towards purchases right now, and then how does it look like in terms of when you forecast it? So once you have that idea, it would actually give you some mind whether you should accept that price or not. And usually, if you take a product like this, which is perishable, because it's plantain.
That's right.
Now, you're looking at the lifespan of plantain.
Okay.
And then you're looking at the situation now. And then you have to actually take a decision on that.
Right.
Now, when you do and that's why the planning is crucial. When you build the scenarios, you'll be able to tell that, well, if you accept a particular price point, and you always have to have your price floor and your price ceiling.
That's right.
That is in case the actual price is not actually going on. So once you do that calculation, you'll be able to have a fair idea that, no, if I accept this, perhaps I'll be in a good position
to do
because
that.
You know that by 3 days' time, the product will actually go bad.
Doc, I'll come to your next text for you to answer, but let me open the phone lines for those at home to join us. Please, whether it's contribution or it's a question, feel free for you to come in. The usual number you call is 030-295-9065. Let me take that number again, 030-295-9065. You can actually call in right now and I'll pick up your call and direct your question or contribution. Okay, so we are ready for that. Doc, the next text message here, the person did not add a name to it. The person says that he's in water business. And these days, some of the people have reduced their sachet water just because they will get the market. But if you decide to do that without checking with your business plan, you end up making a loss. And at the end, you still might not be able to get the kind of customers you want to be able to attract. What advice will you give to that person in the water business?
Okay, so we should realize that we don't serve the same markets or the same customers. Sometimes, your customer base is different from your competitors' customer base. And so, whereas they can actually reduce and still get the customers. When you do, maybe because your customers are a little bit detailed, i.e., they're a little bit upmarket, they will be able to observe it, the differentials, and then, shun the product. So you have to be able to tell what kind of customer are you selling. Sometimes, we'll be following a competitor and you realize that you're actually serving the wrong customers because that is not your customer base. Exactly. So you have to first of all understand which kind of customers are you, serving. And then their behavior would actually inform.
Okay, so Doc, hold on a second. Before I read Peter's message, somebody on the line. Good evening.
Good evening.
Hello?
Yeah, good evening.
Okay, if you can speak up a little for us, please.
Yeah, my name is Nana Pia from Kumasi.
Nana, go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to sell these luxury products, like he's saying, like maybe the clothing, men's clothing. But the fact is that now we have to import them, but the borders are closed. We are deciding to shift into a different business, but we fear that moving into a different or a new business, we fear a bit that we might not be able to make it into the new business.
That's
like
right.
The business that we can do locally.
That's right.
That's my question.
Thank you so much.
How are we encouraged to go ahead with the new one that we think that one might be the, like he said, maybe the, okay, bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Thanks for your call.
Okay.
Doc.
Yeah, in marketing, we say diversification.
Okay.
You know, when you are moving from your usual playing field to a completely different area, you are diversifying. But there are certain things you have to be mindful of. One, whether you have enough expertise to go into that business. If you're going to any business and you don't have some knowledge about it, it is very, very risky. Because one, you do not have knowledge about the business. Two, you don't know the market well. So it could actually take you a lot of time. So whenever you're actually moving, you know, outside your comfort zone, we recommend that perhaps you go to something that is closer, i.e., you know, certain markets that are not too far away from your original market that you used to serve, that you could have enough knowledge. But then if you're going to an entirely different market, you probably want to have a partner who has knowledge in that particular field, you know, so that you can actually, you know, team up with your, you know, resources
But can you give a specific example? I mean,
okay.
If you
okay.
can.
So if you were in what do you call shirt, as
yes,
she's talking about importing, yeah.
Right.
Would it be possible to go into the local, you know, locally made one, as opposed to, you know, shifting entirely from the imported to, let's say, a completely different market? So maybe, you know, people, you know, your customers will still appreciate, you know, the locally made shirt. So you have to actually do some tests. You have to actually do some research and find out whether, because of the border closes,
they will still buy with the local one.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now, once you actually have that, you could actually go into, other than moving entirely to a different
diversification. Doc, let me take the second person on the line. Please, you are with us, Hope Business Forum. How can we help you? Hello, good evening. Hello.
Good evening to you.
Yes, sir. Your name, and then if you can go straight away with your question, sir.
Yes. Please, I need the. Yes, I need that. And my question is, as a business person, are you always supposed to focus on making profit, or making profit and a loss?
All right. Okay, thank you so much. Point straight to the point.
That's a very good one.
Yeah,
good one.
Doc, you want to respond to that one quickly,
yes.
and then I give you a few text messages.
For businesses, our focus is to make profit.
Yeah.
Of course, you have to anticipate that there could be losses, so that you'll be better prepared. But if you actually follow your business plan, your ultimate aim is to make profit. And then, you know, if there are losses, because you have actually prepared for it, like I said, you have anticipated it, you would be able to. But losses are not, you know, the kind of objective we set as business people. You know, it's always about profitability. Okay. But of course, when the losses come, you should them.
Yeah. Doc, let me take this one from Peter. That is his name. Peter would like to start a business. He has a wonderful idea, and he wants to actually, this business, the target is university students. And he's saying that he actually need an investor, a bigger investor, and that is his headache. Now, issues like this, would you actually suggest that where should Peter goes to get investors?
He needs to go into the market first.
Okay.
Because you see, sometimes investors want to see that the business is viable. Yeah. And then, you know, whether you actually get in the market. Nobody wants to push their money into a completely, you know, blue ocean kind of activities. Yeah. So he needs to start first and start small. Now, once he's able to start, he would actually get to understand the business because of the learning curve. And then he will be able to, you know, kind of work against the gaps. Okay. You know, so that when an investor comes in and asking the critical questions, he's able to answer it. You couldn't actually get an investor with an idea in your mind. It wouldn't work. Majority of time, they want to see that the business is working. And I tell you about Uber. It took Uber almost about several years before they could come out because they were not getting investors.
That's right.
It took Obama's campaign that people were looking for for it to get started. Before people realized that, wow, that's a fantastic business, then they came in. Wow. So you've got to actually start small. Okay. Start, no matter what the thing is, find a way to start small, get it, you know, going, learn about it, get to know the market. Before somebody will be interested to even want to. So that when they invite you, you'll be able to competently speak about it. Okay. And then let them have interest.
I was going to take Natalia from Kumasi. His text message is that, Natalia, just hold on a bit. Let me go to the phone lines and I'll read the text message. Hello? Hello? Hello?
Hello, good evening.
Yes, sir, good evening, sir. Thanks for your call. Your name and
my name
your
is
question.
I'm calling from Bonasu, Western region.
Right, sir. Go ahead.
Yes, my question is I'm into a business, and my business there is a lot of competition. We have a competition in my business.
Yes.
And then I don't know, the price I set for my business is lower than my competitor.
Yes.
But I never make profit nor loss, so I break even. Can I continue with the business?
Would you mind sharing the business you are in with us? What business is it?
Yes, it's a gold business.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Look.
Yeah. Now, you always want to be, to look at the profiles of your, as I said, your customers and your competitors, customers. Now, obviously, as he's saying, it's a very competitive, area, but he sells, cheaper than the competitor. Now, over time, he needs to look at how loyal his people, his business, the customers have become. And then if they are so, loyal to him, he needs to sometimes test, their loyalty, whether if he up a little bit his, his pricing, whether they will still be loyal to him or not, or they will still, be close to buying his product or not.
Yes.
If they are not prepared, then he keep the prices there. But if they are prepared to give extra, then of course he can actually, move up a little bit in terms of the pricing. Good. But it's always about what are you offering as value. Yeah. You are just not pushing price up. You're looking at what is it that you are giving the customer for them to pay the extra cost.
The value addition.
Exactly, the value addition has to be determined before you move up the price.
Doc, let's take the Nigerian one. Actually, he's talking about overpricing your product in these abnormal times. And some Christians have a belief that, no, this is a time that you don't really need to increase your prices, and he feels that some of the people consider that to be sinful.
Well, not even that, but even when your customers find out that you've been very, unprofessional with them, or you've been too price, conscious or profit conscious, they may desert you. So you want to be transparent. You don't want to go for overprice. When you move into that space of premium pricing, it means that you're offering the customer extra value, something that they really appreciate. That even when they know that the difference between theirs, what they're buying, and what competitors are selling, is about 50%. They will still be committed to you because they know that you're offering them value. But if they realize that you have been too, unfaithful with them in terms of, hiking the price just because of COVID, they may desert you. So you want to be very careful.
Dr. Kobe Mensah, Senior Lecturer, University of Ghana. Doc, thank you so much. Today you schooled us, and we are so happy. There are more text messages coming. Now, we can't pick more calls, I'm afraid. Time is not on our side. But I can assure you, you can still send it by text, and I'll find time to read it. Those that we need to get Doc to respond, he is very high and hype when it comes to social media. So he still have time on you for the courtesy of Hope Business Forum, which is a combination of Hope Channel and Wealth Creation Committee. Our people back home. Today, our consideration was sales and marketing. You might have learned new things. You probably know them all before, but you can pick a few things. You can also explain it to somebody. The process of explaining it, you become a master of it. I know there's a bit more that you'd have wanted to be added, but time is not on our side. But I promise you, tomorrow from exactly 8 o'clock, we are still back here. We bring in a very special person as well. And tomorrow we'll be looking at creativity, innovation, and more importantly of all these two, we still want to be able to talk about leadership. How are you leading in times of these difficult moments? If you can learn how to sell and sell water to the well, then it's also a necessity for you to actually be here tomorrow. And I think tomorrow's one is going to be very exciting. You really want to be able to be here tomorrow and take your pen and paper and be able to know who is speaking to us tomorrow. Tomorrow we are so blessed, and I think it is one of the greatest one I'm looking forward to as well, for us to have Elder who knows it all. Elder New Amanka Tete. Elder Tete will be here tomorrow, CEO of Bayport savings and loans. He'll be here to be able to look at this very important topic: creativity, innovation, and leadership. You don't want to miss that. So let's keep on the talking. Send the messages across. Keep your tests coming in even when we are out of here. Tomorrow when we are seated, we'll be able to go over your questions. Those ones that we're not able to deal with it, we will pass it on to the expert who will still be kind enough to directly respond to you. We want to thank you so much for the great work you've done. Dan Kansa and the rest of the committee members who are here. Our Abu Eda Enoku at the back there being the producer for this program. And once again, Dr. Kobe Mensah. In fact, those of you who know him very well, this is a new look of Dr. Kobe Mensah. The white beards and then the big hair and everything is gone because he's not feeling too well. And then this is a new look forward, a new normal.
Yes.
So I think we want to welcome him. And this is the first time he's actually getting out of his house. And we are happy to have you and we are so proud of you. And I can say to you, you are part of us.
Excellent.
Keep the faith.
Thank
and
you.
be closer more as we also get closer to be able to make you a full member of the Seventh-day Adventist Church.
Definitely.
But today, I can bet you tonight, you've spoken to quite a number of people who are starting businesses, those still in the business, those who are Christians, those who are not, those who don't belong to us in terms of our fellowship, but those who actually have listened to you. And this cut across, Hope Channel, they change life, not only in Ghana. Brothers and sisters and friends across the globes are all watching us. And don't be surprised to receive calls from where your wife is to tell you that I saw you on television.
Exactly.
All the courtesy of Hope
thank
TV.
You.
So, Doc, we thank you once again for coming.
Thank you so much,
And
Doc.
families out there, this is where we sign off. But join us tomorrow at the same time, and then you'll be one of us. We'll visit you again. Thank you and have a lovely night. Thank you very much.
Hope Channel, changing lives.